I don't like flipping. Every house that I sold, I regret. Hey, this is who I am. My name is Scadi. I'm a New York-based investor. You're looking for this. This is what it's worth. This is how much work it needs. I can close in 30 days. Let's get this done. I've done so many deals that my lenders know who I am. They know that I'm serious.
What's the difference between you, though, and so many people live that life and they repeat the cycle, and you have broken that cycle for your family? What's the determining factor there, the difference between you guys?
I'd love to say luck, but I don't think it's luck. I'd love to say it's determination. I knew that I grew up poor and I didn't want to be there. As far as what was the determining factor that made me not repeat the cycle, I've been poor. I did this. These are the steps that I took. These are the pitfalls that I tried to avoid, and these are the things that you can do to pull yourself out.
This is the Better Life Podcast with Brandon Turner and
Cameron Cathcart.
What's up, Cam?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. Were you there last night when Alex pushed me in the pool?
I was not, but I saw it on Instagram.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I got it on Instagram.
Did you have your phone in your pocket?
I did not, thankfully, no. But that was a good night.
You should fire him.
What you didn't get to see then on the video is right after that, I went and gave my wife a high five, and she's sitting there in her cute little, summer dress, and I pulled her right in the pool. It was great. It was a good night. Anyway. That was fun. What's new in your world?
Dude, not much. I did sleep 8 hours last night for the first time in years. I went home from your house.
Game-changing.
Yeah, and I went to bed at like 8:40, and I woke up at 4:45, 5 o'clock, and it was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I feel like a king today.
Yeah, I wanna encourage you, man. Prioritize sleep, man. Prioritize sleep. You wake up super early, and you like to stay up late and party at my house in the pool. So
it was a great night, though. I feel amazing.
I
cannot explain how great I feel right now.
That's
in this moment. So,
it's like a superpower. Actually, true story. For the last couple of years, I've been like just dealing with a lot of low energy every day, and I'm like, I feel so low energy. And then as I've tried a bunch of stuff, different supplements, and I've tried this and this, and all this stuff. I mean, a ton of stuff. And then at the end of the day, nothing really worked. And then finally, I just prioritized getting 8 hours of sleep at night. And shockingly, I'm not tired in the afternoon anymore.
Yes.
So who'd have ever thought that the answer to not being tired is to just get more sleep? It's shocking. Amazing. You know what else is shocking, Cam?
What is shocking?
This week's episode of the podcast. So let me tell you a little backstory to this. My buddy Jude, who's on the podcast, I don't know if that episode's come out yet which one comes first, but Jude came out, Welby comes out, two of my buddies, love those guys, and they bring a third dude out. And there's like, hey, we have a friend coming with us. We're going to go hang out at dinner. So we went to dinner together with the three of them. And you and I were just like, this Scadi
is dope, dude.
He is dope, man. He's such a
cool
good dude. So we were like, we have to get this guy on the podcast. So we rearranged our schedules. Like the next morning, we recorded a podcast at 7 a.m.?
7 a.m., yeah. Because they were flying out to Oahu. Yep. We had stuff going on.
Yeah, had to get it done, but we got it done. And I am so glad we did. This was a legit episode with a guy who's crushing it in buy and hold real estate right now in this market, buying stuff that you might shy away from, but maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah. I love it. One of my favorite things about his episode is one, he takes care of people.
Yeah,
that's like his whole thing.
And
part of it, I won't ruin it, but he just comes from that background. And so he's working with people that he knows really well and can take care of. And then he's just such a great dude. That's why we wanted to interview him, because we just hung out with him and we're like, dude, Scotty's
a good real
human being.
Awesome real estate investor, landlord, etc. So without further ado, we've talked about him a lot. Now let me introduce you to Scadi. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Turbo Tenant and Ballpoint Marketing. These two companies are big supporters of the show, and they know how to work with real estate investors and help real estate investors grow their businesses. So be sure to stay tuned to hear how you can get discounts and free stuff from them both. And as you probably know, all the profits from this show go to charities of the guest choosing. So when you listen to the sponsors on the show and you work with these hand-chosen by me sponsors, you're actually doing good for the world. Now let's get to the show.
Scadi Etienne, what's up, man?
I'm good. How are you guys? Thank you for having me. It's great to be in Maui.
Yeah, Maui is not a bad place, right?
Yeah, I think I might pick up surfing, so we'll see what happens. We'll see.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, dude. So I know you as an Iraqi war veteran. I know you were served over there, which is awesome. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I know you were a flipper. I know you do now long-term buy and hold. I want to talk about all that. You have some crazy 30% cash on cash return deals that you do now.
Yeah, that's all. That's really the deals that I focus on, dude. If it's not 30% cash on cash, if at minimum 30%, I really try to focus on trying to make my money back in about 2.5 to 3 years. If it doesn't flow like that, then I just typically don't do the deals.
All right, we're gonna dig deep into that today. I love
let's
that.
do it.
And I know you just came back from Ghana?
Yeah, I was actually in Ghana this week.
Yeah, from Ghana to Maui. That's
from Ghana to New York.
Yeah,
one day in New York to Maui. So my time. What time is it? What day is it?
You've been to 50 plus countries.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm a world traveler. I typically try to do historically, I used to do like 4 or 5 really like big trips a year. A week here, a week there. So I just really want to be immersive in the countries that I travel to. I don't want to just stay in a resort. I want to get to know the people, get to know the history, the culture, eat the food, just be with the people. Life has taken me and made me slow down in that. But I do like 2-3 big trips. I did 2 weeks in Ghana and Senegal. Last year I did 2 weeks in Greece. Also last year I did 2 weeks in Italy. Just travel around, just really get to know, like the different cultures, the different areas of the country, and I love it. It's really my passion.
Yeah, dude. I want to dig into some of that stuff later too, because I want to know some of the highlights you've done. But let's go back even before all of that. All that, who was Scadi? And by the way, Scadi is not like Scottie Pippen. Scotty.
No, it sounds like Scottie Pippen.
It sounds like Scadi, but it's spelled SCA. That's official, right?
Yeah, it's spelled SCADI. My mom wanted to be different.
That.
And I thank her for that because Scotty it's a cool name. It's common, but Scotty, the way I spell it, it's Scotty with a D.
Scotty with a D. You're the only one.
Yeah, I'm the only one. Yeah, so
all right, I love
that's pretty cool.
So who was Scotty?
So just to take it back, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I was raised in New York. I come from humble beginnings. Capital H, humble. And I had a lot of housing insecurity as a child. I did the math recently, and we were evicted 8 times.
Jeez, really?
As a child, and it was really traumatic for me. But throughout all that time, I kept my head down. I always did well in school, and graduated from high school, went to college, and my first year of college, I saw the towers come down. I was in New York, and I'm in French class, and the teacher's like, "Oh my God, is something happening?" And the Twin Towers got bombed. And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like, that's crazy." So we went. I was in Brooklyn, so we went to the roof of the school, and we saw over into Manhattan. We saw the towers just on fire, and we saw them come down. And I'm here crying because I'm a New Yorker, but more importantly, I'm an American. Yeah. And just watching that, it was really a traumatizing experience for me. So, that happened in September 11th.
So you were in college when that happened?
Yeah, I was in college when that happened. So obviously it happened September 11th. So February of the following year, Uncle Sam, you have me. I just wanted to do my part as an American. I spent 8 years in the Army as a reservist, a year and a half in Iraq. And that was a real interesting experience because I was a reservist, and I go to drill once a month. And on the November drill, they said, "Hey, Scotty, your number's up. You got to go get your stuff in order." I did a lot of crying that night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and on December 7th, 2003, I was gone. So I spent a year and a half in Iraq. I came back March of 2005, and it was a real traumatic experience because one day, I'm a college student in college. Next day, I'm training and I'm ready to go to Iraq. And it's totally culture shock, totally different experience. And, one thing I could say is it's part of the reason why I travel, because I just want to get immersed into the different cultures. What happened was when we got there, and the Iraqi people were just so happy and excited to see us. I came in right after the Saddam statue came down. The guys that caught Saddam and pulled him out of that gutter that he was hiding in. I met the guy, I shook his hand. So it was just a really good experience coming in during the first wave. Yeah, I was wave 1.5. The war started, and then I came in December. So it was really an experience that, really life-changing. Mm-hmm. But again, the dichotomy between being in college on December 6th and Iraq, December 7th, that was a really interesting experience.
And then the shock coming back, I suppose, all of a sudden now I'm normal.
Well, the shock coming back, I'm at war.
Yeah.
People are dying, and my job, we were responsible for convoys and bringing in supplies and material from Kuwait up into Baghdad, which was where we were based at Baghdad Airport. We took it over and we made that into our base, Camp Victory. And like it's very difficult to basically know that you're sending people out there, and then you hear on the radio half an hour later, we got attacks and then air support. This car didn't make it. This convoy didn't make it. People that you saw 30 minutes ago, and you see them come back, and they came back differently than they left. So that was really an experience.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
How was adjusting? Like when you got? We just talked with this was a while ago, but with was it Eric Upchurch?
Yeah, runs Church,
yeah. Yep. And he's got just this incredible organization for veterans. But he was just explaining the process of coming back and getting readjusted. Yeah. How was that for you?
It's an adjustment because again, I'm at war. Like my M16 is always locked and loaded and ready to go, and then I come home and now I'm at Target and it's like, and I had a little PTSD. I remember one time I was in a car with some college buddies of mine, and we just driving, and there was some trash on the road. And I got nervous, and I'm hypervigilant, and I'm sweating, and I'm ready to go, because in Iraq, a lot of the things that were taken out of American soldiers were IEDs, improvised explosive device that were placed on the road. And in my mind, it took me back there, and I'm looking at it like, oh my God, like I'm ready to go. And my friends are like, what's wrong with you? Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'm back. Man. But but things like that, like when you first come back, although you're physically back here, mentally, you're still there. And it took me a while to adjust and get acclimated to being home, and people weren't coming to get me. And, Easter 2004, we were attacked, and, the trailer that I was in was blown up, Thank goodness that, I made it. But, they try to attack, they try to storm our camp, and they threw rockets, and the rocket exploded, maybe 10 feet from my trailer. And that happened to us a couple of times. Like when we first got there, we were living in a tent city, and we'd be living there, and we live in a square compound, but outside the compound is an Iraqi village, and and people have perished that way. And one day a missile came into our tent, and it just skidded.
Really?
And it didn't go off, And another story, I'm in a trailer 2 doors down from me got blown up, and the guys inside didn't make it. That's 3.
Yeah.
And there's countless others, but by the grace of God, I'm here. But there's a lot of my battle buddies, a lot of people that were out there, a lot of good soldiers, a lot of good Americans that did not make it. Yeah. And it's I just owe it to them to really make them proud, and also just make sure that I do the right thing. So
yeah. So it's going to sound like an abrupt transition here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I know there's a connection here, and you're Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
Where'd that come in?
So it's crazy, right? So, when we got to Iraq, we were assigned battle buddies. Well, my battle buddy was always my battle buddy because we went to basic training together. Yeah. He was in college in Manhattan, and I was in college in Brooklyn, and we were friends. And we shared a trailer together, and he's reading this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I'm like, okay, what gives? And he's like, yeah, read it. It's really cool. And I pick it up, and I'm like, okay. I start reading, and I'm like, wow, this kind of makes sense. I come from Brooklyn, New York. I come from a humble background, and my experience with home ownership, my experience with landlords are older gentlemen. Like it's just not people that look like me. Coming from New York, all my landlords that evicted us, deservedly so, by the way. Like my mom, we had issues, and we weren't paying the rent. So with that being said, we were evicted because that's just what it is. But, every landlord that evicted us, they fit a certain criteria. And I never saw anyone that looked like me, that talked like me, that came from the same background as me, have home ownership, much less, be able to own multifamily properties, have several tenants. So I'm like, is this even real? But I read it, and I'm like, wow, this is really inspiring. So, let me see what I can do. Because at the end of the day, I know where I came from. I didn't like it. So I know I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to go back there as an adult. I didn't want to live and repeat the same cycle. Yeah. So I wanted to transition and do something good for myself. So, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read Cash Flow Quadrant, and I'm like, wow, this is wow.
Yeah.
Blew You're gonna edit that, right?
Oh no. We want to make sure we get that.
I read it blew my mind, and I'm like, okay, let me really try to do that. So I came back March of 2004, and I came back on a Friday because prior to leaving for Iraq, I was a college student. Mm-hmm. I left halfway through the semester. Thank you for my professors that basically looked out.
Yeah.
I got good grades that semester. So I came back, and I came back on a Thursday. Monday morning, I was in class. Because at the end of the day, I know that, I could have hung out and chilled out and not gone to class and picked it up the following semester. But I'm like, no, I want to go back into school. I want to get my degree, and I want to start working and start trying to realize what I was reading in Rich Dad Poor Dad and Castro Quadrant. So I'm like, okay, let me tighten my buckle. Yeah. Let me tighten my belt buckle. Let me really do this. So went to college, got back into college, graduated, and I started working. And when I started working, what I was doing was I was saving all my money. Yeah. I like to say I'm financially prudent.
What gave you that mindset? Because I know that when you're deployed, you're not spending any money. You're just making money. You come back and you've got probably a large, for a 22, 23-year-old, you got a lot of money in the bank.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're in school the next week. Yeah. For me, I'm traveling the world, hanging out, living it. But what gave you that mindset, of hey, I'm going right back to school and getting after this?
Because again, I come from a humble background. From 6 to 16, we got evicted 8 times. Mm-hmm. So I know I didn't want to do that in my life. Yeah. I know I didn't. That's not what I wanted for me. So because of that, I know the only real way out of quote unquote the hood is education. It's education. Yeah. To me, like my college degrees, they're a passport to the rest of my life. Yeah. I know that as a kid, as a Haitian kid from Flatbush, I wasn't going to be able to go and work in corporate America without a college degree. I wasn't going to be able to achieve the things that I needed to achieve without a college degree. So that was of paramount importance for me.
What's the difference between you, though, and so many people live that life and they repeat the cycle, and you have broken that cycle for your family. What's the determining factor there, the difference between you guys?
You know what? That's a good question. I'll be honest with you. What makes me different? I'd love to say luck. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's luck. I'd love to say it's determination, but because I am determined. Mm-hmm. I knew that I grew up poor and I didn't want to be there. But as far as what was the determining factor that made me not repeat the cycle, I've been poor. Mm-hmm. Being poor is ghetto. Yeah. For lack of a better term, being poor is ghetto. And it's not something that I wanted to do. It's not something that I wanted to raise my family. It's not something that I wanted for myself. So I really was determined on, listen, I'm going to do whatever it is that I need to do to make sure that I never have housing insecurity and I always eat every day. And also, I make sure that everyone that I love and I care for is taken care of. Yeah. Like now that I've quote unquote made it, which I still don't feel like I've made it, there's people that I love and care for that I have to take care of, and I'm okay with it because I know what it's like. I know where they come from, and they came from where I came from, and it's like, okay, I've made it, but I have to help because if I don't help, who's gonna help them? Yeah, So I don't know if that answers the question, but
yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, there's something I see in stories like yours, including yours. It's almost like the first step is simply just believing that it's possible. Because I think the vast majority of the world doesn't even realize they can escape. Like people in poverty or grow up that way, I don't even think that they realize that there's another path, there's another story to be written. And so you obviously just believed it. You're like, oh, I can get out of this. Right. And just by believing you can, I think is 80% of the battle there in terms of now I'm looking for opportunities. Now I'm saying yes to things and saying no to other things because I know that this is a path that's possible. Mm-hmm. But if you don't know that, which is one thing, we talked a little bit about the Brooklyn Bank before we started recording. Right. And that's one thing, one of the reasons I'm such a big supporter of the Brooklyn Bank is because you guys are showing people that there is another way. Yeah. That'll, even if you didn't teach them anything, just showing them that there's another way, that you as a, somebody who changed the story of your future and your family and generations, you're changing lives just by that because you're saying, hey, this isn't the only path. This is another one.
Yeah, absolutely. With the Brooklyn Bank, what we really try to focus on is we just want to show these kids that there is another path. Yeah. Because, I'll be totally honest with you. All my friends growing up, I have one left. I have one left. All of the other ones are not with us today.
Wow.
You know, I have one left, and we spoke yesterday, and he's doing well. He's telling me he's wearing glasses now, and I'm laughing at him. But the point being is he's reached a certain age where he needs reading glasses.
Yeah.
You know, most of my friends growing up, they didn't make it to that.
Yeah.
You know, and quite honestly, I didn't want to. Like, I wasn't a gangster. You know, like my biggest muscle, my biggest tool is that I was kind of smart.
Yeah.
And because of that, I'm an avid reader. Because of that, I'm able to read and synthesize information. And when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, when I read Cash Flow Quadrant, when I read other books, I'm like, okay, this is something that's happening. I don't know anyone that's doing it, but taking it back to the Brooklyn Bank, I want to show kids, I want to show the younger generation that you can do this. Because I did this, and I came from exactly where you came from. I speak the same exact language that you speak. You know, but I did this. These are the steps that I took. These are the pitfalls that I tried to avoid, and these are the things that you can do to pull yourself out.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Thank you.
Well, speaking of Brooklyn Bank, and maybe that's not the one you're going to choose, but I'll throw one thing we do in the show is 100% of ad revenue of every episode goes toward a charity of the guest's choosing. So, where are we throwing the money from this episode? I figured you're wearing the shirt, the Brooklyn Bank.
Yeah, where else are we throwing it? Because the truth is, I believe in what we do. Yeah. You know, like last year, we fed over 1,000 families Thanksgiving dinner.
I love it.
You know, the year before that, we fed over 1,000 families Thanksgiving dinner. The year before that, we fed over 1,000 families Thanksgiving dinner. The neighborhood, the community, they rely on us. They know that I may not eat the day before Thanksgiving, but I'm going to have a real Thanksgiving dinner because of the Brooklyn Bank. I'm going to be able to go in and get the programs that they're offering to show me, okay, these are the ways that I can, you know, acquire wealth and build generational wealth. You know, Brooklyn Bank, it's really like my ethos. It's really like, these are the things that we did. These are the things that you could do. I am an example because when I was coming up, I had no examples. You know, I had absolutely no examples. I read a book and it said I could do this. And I'm like, well, okay, sounds good. Let's see what happens. Dovetailing the back to what you spoke about when I came home from the military, I did have money because I wasn't spending any money. Yeah. You know, I had $88,000 and I was rich. I was rich.
22 years old. Yeah.
I was 22 years old. I had $88,000. I was rich and I didn't know what to do. You know, and I'm like, well, okay, well, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to go and buy Gucci. Yeah. You know, I'm not going to go and buy material things. Let me put it in the bank, let me put it in the CD, and I put it in, and I put it in the bank, and it started growing slowly. And then I started working, and I started making money, and then again, I'm financially prudent. So, you know, like I was paying $400 a month in rent. $400 a month in rent in New York. With 2 roommates. We called it the frat house because we all went to college together. But I was saving, you know, all my income at that time. And then, you know, when it was time for me to move out, I went to a real estate office and I'm like, hey, I'm here. I'm ready to buy something. They're like, kid, get out of here. And I'm like, no, I'm ready to buy something. And he's like, all right, let me see your paper. So I showed him my bank account and I had 6 figures. And he's like, hey, sir, nice to meet you. Pleasure to meet you. I have a seat right here. And then he's like, what do you want to buy? I'm like, I don't know. What do you have? And he's like, well, you can buy anything you want because you know, you're 25, you have credit, you have income, you have
the VA loan.
You have a VA loan, you have a 6 figures in the bank. I'm like, okay, well, let's figure it out. Let's slow down. Let's slow down, cowboy. So what we did was he showed me a condo, and I'm like, all right, this seems cool. It's a 1-bedroom condo. I'm a single guy. Let's do this. So I bought the condo, and it was cool. You know, it was cool. It was just me. And I did a little bit of renovations, and I lived there. And then a year later, he calls me. He said, hey, Scotty, come meet me somewhere. And I'm like, all right. Like, he was my real estate agent. He was cool. And I drove down. I was at work, and I drove down, and I met him at a house in Bed-Stuy. And I'm like, okay, cool. I just bought a condo. I don't need another house, bro. Like, what are you doing? And he's like, no, take a look at it. So he takes me inside the house. He shows me it's a 3-family house in Bed-Stuy. And I'm looking at the house. I'm like, this is nice. Really nice. He's like, well, excuse me, I think you should buy this. And I said, I just bought a house last year. Excuse me. He said, no, I think you should buy this. And we sit in the car. He's like, look at the other investors that are out there buying this house. They don't look like you, but I know you. I know you can afford this. I know you can do this. Here's a contract. Give me your hand. Here's the pen. You sign here. He takes my hand and he signs. And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. So I go to the VA. I get a VA loan. I paid $360,000 for a 3-family house in Brooklyn, New York, in Bed-Stuy. Today, that house is worth $2 million.
That's wild.
So it's worth $2 million. So at least 1.5.
You send that guy a bottle of wine or something?
Yeah, I've taken care of him throughout the years, because we've stayed close, and I've taken care of him throughout the years. And I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. I'm a landlord now. Me, I'm a landlord. So it's like, okay, cool. So once I did that, then I started, okay, I used the VA loan, so I didn't really. I didn't use my own money, so I still had my 6 figures in the bank. And at that time, I'm investing in the stock market, and I'm going up. And one day in the stock market, I lost 6 figures. Jeez. One day, and I'm like, wait a minute, I am a poor black kid from Brooklyn. I can't be losing 6 figures in one day. I can't afford that. So I need more tangible assets. I need things I can touch and hold. So what I did was, I started flipping houses. Mm-hmm. I started flipping houses in New York. I started flipping them in Brooklyn and Queens and the Bronx, just flipping. So me and a couple of partners, we started flipping houses, and that was going well for us. Mm-hmm. So we were buying them from a wholesaler. We were getting financing on them. We were renovating them, and we were flipping them. And we was making good money. Mm-hmm. But every time it was time to sell a house, I'm like, do we really have to sell? And they're like, bro, what are you doing? We got to sell this house because this is how we eat. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to sell. Yeah. So they're like, okay, fine. Like, we're going to sell. But, so the last house that I'm like, you know what? We're not going to sell. I'll buy you out. I'll keep this house. Mm-hmm. So, and then like we dissolved that partnership, and I kept one of the houses, and I paid them out. And I'm like, okay, now I got a couple houses, and I have a good amount of money in the bank because I've been flipping, and I'm in the stock market, and I work, and my expenses are low. So my liquidity is growing. And then I'm like, okay, I don't like flipping. Every house that I sold, I regret. I have it on Zillow, and I'm like, oh gosh, we sold this for $5 and it's worth $8. Yeah, that's $300 that I'm losing out on. I don't like this. Yeah. This isn't what I want to do. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to keep buying houses. Let me focus in on being a full-time landlord. So then I started acquiring houses. And I get houses anywhere you can think of. I've done auctions. I've done wholesalers, real estate agents, knocked on doors. Mm-hmm. Anywhere I can get a deal, like I'll figure it out and get it. And I'm actively growing my portfolio. So after a while, I was still working at the bank, and I was doing very well. I was the vice president at the bank. I had an office. I felt like I made it, but I really wasn't that happy. I had a thriving real estate business that was generating more money than I was making at the bank. Mm-hmm. But I was giving the bank 40, 50, 60 hours a week looking at spreadsheets. And I was giving real estate 5 hours a week, but it was making more money. So it just didn't make sense. So, I figured out, what, this doesn't make sense anymore. Let me just stop working. And I stopped working about 6 years ago and fully took my time and really focused into my real estate. And, it's the best decision I ever made.
What did you do, though? When you leave your job, you lose a lot of the ability to get mortgages. And that's one of the people's biggest fears. Oh, if I leave my job, I can't get a loan anymore. I can't buy more real estate. How did you overcome that?
Well, a couple of things. This is the third time I'm saying I'm financially prudent. Yeah. So I left the job and I had $1 million. Yeah. Sitting down.
That helps.
I had more than $1 million just hanging out on the side. That's the first thing. Secondly, I had rental income. I had rental income from my properties. I had funds, I had rental income, and I have excellent credit. Yeah. That's one thing growing up. My parents didn't have good credit. I realized how hurtful, how detrimental that was to them. So what I did was, I've never paid a bill late in my life. Yeah. I get nervous when bills are due, even though I have it on auto pay. I have my bills on auto pay, and I check to see if the auto pay went through. Yeah. Because I'd never want to be in a place where my credit is affected.
Dude, I got an email yesterday from Capital One or whatever, who monitors credit. Anyway, it said, your credit score has dropped 87 points this month. And I'm like,
what happened?
Shoot. What happened? Because I'm always hovering around 800, and I'm like, oh shoot. So I'm looking into it. There's nothing. I can't find anything. But other credit, I went and searched a bunch of other credit things, and I'm fine. Oh. I'm hoping it's a blip. But I'm the same way. I'm like, no, I guard my credit I guard my children.
Because I know that I can't really do anything else. I can't really grow my portfolio if I don't have good credit. You know, it's a passport to life. You know, like my college degree was a passport to life. My credit is a passport to life. You know, it really allows me to go in and leverage my credit and leverage the capital that I have to really acquire more properties.
So if I could point out something here, I notice with people who have not great credit and people who have great credit. Like the biggest difference I see, if maybe the only difference I see is an identity belief that I do not miss payments. Like as long as you believe that I do not miss payments, you're going to have good credit. And if you do not believe that about yourself, I am not somebody who pays bills on time. Then you're going to have bad credit, and it's 99% identity. It's just am I somebody that pays their bills, or am I not somebody?
Yeah. You know, like I have a sizable real estate portfolio, and I screen my applicants, and I look at their credit. First of all, I give everyone a pass if their credit is affected negatively by student loans. You know, because at the end of the day, you got to get student loans. Like it's a passport to life. So I understand that. But, you know, if you're not paying Capital One and you owe $300 to Capital One as collections, I look at you with a side eye because it's like, dude, it's $300.
Because now your identity says you are someone not paying your obligations.
Not paying your obligations, you know. Like I have a lot of properties in C-class and D-class and workforce, C-class and D-class neighborhoods, a lot of workforce housing. And, you know, like inherently these applicants don't have the greatest credit. But I'm digging deep because, again, I come from a place where they're at. So I understand more than what's behind the credit score. I take a look at the story. Okay, you didn't pay your student loans because you have $40,000 in student loans and you make $18 an hour. I can give a pass on that. You know, I can give a pass on that. But you didn't pay Capital One $300, and then you didn't pay, Macy's $400. Bro, what are you doing? You know, you just basically said, okay, and then. If you're in your 20s and that's the case, I understand. Everyone went to college. Everyone was broke in college. Everyone got that Capital One credit card in college. They got the free T-shirt. They got the pizza. I understand. I understand.
Dude, I was there. I did that.
We all were
there.
You know, but if that's the story, I can understand. But if you're 40 and you owe Capital One $300 from last year, then you know you're not really taking your credit seriously. And I will give you a demerit on that because if you're not paying Capital One $300. Are you going to pay me the rent? You know, like taking a step back to a story, right? Like when I bought my first co-op, right? I was living in the condo. I was living in an apartment with two roommates. I ate tuna fish every day for 6 months. Every day. Mind you, I had almost 7 figures in the bank.
Wow.
But I ate tuna fish every day because I was like, wow, I just spent a lot of money on this condo. So I don't deserve the niceties of life. So I made tuna every night. I made it myself, 2 sandwiches. I toasted the bread. It was horrible. What? I'm still here. You know, but the point being is I made the sacrifice. You know, I had money. I had a 6-figure job. But it was like, wow, I just bought something I just bought the most expensive thing that I could ever imagine. So I don't really deserve to really be high off the hog. So let me just cut back. And I ate tuna for 6 months. And, you know, like, I didn't lose any weight. Like, I actually bulked up. I actually bulked up.
Good protein.
Yeah, it was good protein. But, you know, the mindset was I came from a place of not having. I've stepped one step up on the ladder. But if I think I've made it, it'll kick me right back down. So let me just chill. Let me just reevaluate things. And let me just eat tuna for the next 6 months. Because I come from that mindset, you know?
One of the biggest financial mistakes, I call it the creep or the income creep, but the biggest financial mistake most people make is they make a little bit more money, they get that job going from $70,000 a year to $80,000 a year,
right.
And then they spend $10,000 a month more. Or in reality, they get that $10,000 raise and they start spending $12,000 a year more. And then they get up to $100,000 and they start spending $110,000. And they just work backwards, and it's really easy to do. I always tell the story when I was 20 and I was broke, I would sleep in my car when I would go travel. I'd go, get in my car, drive across the country, go visit Heather or whatever, and we just sleep in the car. It was great. Then I got a little bit of money. I started staying at like Motel 6. I was like $30 a night or whatever. It was like, okay, this is great. And then today I stay at the Four Seasons everywhere I go. It's just it's that income creep, and you don't notice it. But it's a real. If you haven't, if you're not careful, it'll set you right back down the ladder, like you said.
Because they say more money, more problems. They say more money, more expenses. You know, like I got this thing, like I used to say, right? I'm from New York. Missouri's not the show me state. New York is a show me state. And the reason why is...
Don't talk bad about Missouri.
No, I'm not even, but because growing up where I grew up, everyone was poor. Like, there was levels to this, but all of us were lower middle class. You know, like this one kid might have had Jordans, but you know, like, it is what it is, right? So being from New York, whenever you get money, you have to show everybody.
Yeah.
You know, you have to show everybody that you got money, because at the end of the day, you all broke, you know, but I got Jordans, so I got to show people I got Jordans. So it was a real internal battle of mine to say, okay, fine, I have money, and I might have Jordans, but I don't have to go and show everybody that I've made it. You know, like that's where it gets the New York is a show me. Brooklyn, New York City is a show me, because you have people. I was talking to Jude the other day. I spent the most money when I had the least amount of money. You know, I spent the most. You know, and now, like I've attained a certain level of wealth. I'm not paying for that. I'm not buying that. Like Gucci, I'm not doing this. Louis Vuitton, I'm not doing that. But when I didn't have the money, I bought that stuff. You know, but now that, you know, like I'm not in that place, I'm like, well, I don't need to do that. You know, so it's a mindset switch.
I think that's interesting, because when I was not making very much money, I was buying like the Fear of God jeans, the off-white shoes. Like I was spending a lot of money, and now that I make money, I could care less about those things.
You know, don't get it wrong. I like nice things, and I deserve nice things because I work hard for it, and I made a lot of sacrifices. But I remember I used to work on Fifth Avenue, and my buddy and I, when I was eating tuna, we would go to lunch every day. We would sit at St. Patrick's Cathedral in the steps, and I'd eat my tuna, and he would eat his tuna too, you know, because he had tuna as well. And we'd go into Ferragamo and look at the shoes and be like, oh my God, he's at 800. I can't wait to have these. Oh, look at Versace, look at, and we were so excited because like we knew we were on the right path. We knew we had good careers, and we knew that eventually we'd be able to afford them. And I called him like 3 weeks ago, and we're gonna go to lunch, and we don't buy any of that stuff. You know, don't get it wrong. We have nice things, but the focus is not on the material things. You know, it's just not. It's building generational wealth. It's making sure that people I love and care for are taken care of.
And you're spending money on experiences, right? With the travel. You're saying, hey, I get a pair of these $2,000 shoes, or I can go over to Ghana and go on a safari or something. Is that what you did there?
So I did do a safari in Senegal, but I've done a safari in Kenya. I've done a safari in South Africa. I did a safari in Senegal. But
where's the best safari you've done?
I think Kenya was really.
Did you? Which one? What
Serengeti?
Yeah, Serengeti.
Serengeti, like Kenya was really. We had a tent out in the. We had a tent.
Dude, that's amazing.
And it was cool. And then you heard the animals like getting kills at night. I didn't see a kill, but you heard the animals like you heard it. And you heard the animal. You heard it.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law is Kenyan, so like we keep talking about my sister.
You gotta go.
Yeah,
you gotta go.
Have you done a safari?
No, never been to Africa yet.
We did Rwanda safari.
Oh, did you?
Oh, it was amazing. One of the things that I wanted to do is you can go and like hike in and like be around like the gorillas. If you've ever seen
baboon
that online.
track. You did a baboon track.
Not like literally, or you said a baboon track to get
No, baboon track. Like you can go in and go and see the gorillas and be with them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But
all right, man.
Amazing.
Let's get to what does your portfolio look like today, and then we'll backtrack to how you got there.
Okay, so right now, I have 17 properties, 47 units in total. And the mix is I have 10 units in Brooklyn, New York. Okay. And I have 37 units in Baltimore, Maryland.
Wow. Okay. Baltimore. Why'd you choose Baltimore?
Baltimore chose me. You know, so really quick story, right? So the last house I bought in New York, you know, I bought a brownstone. Like I have the original one, and then I bought another one. I paid $1.420 for a 3-family brownstone in New York. You know, like and it's worth about $2 million now. So I'm fine. I'm okay. Yeah. But you know, I'm a cash flow guy. Yeah. You know, like I'm a cash flow guy, and I'm really focused on cash and cash return. So I took $500,000 of my money, and I put it as down payment and closing costs, and I make $2,000 a month on that house. I have equity, but equity doesn't matter unless you're refinancing or you're selling. And I can't refinance my 3% rate
Yeah.
for a 7% rate now. Like, I'll lose money. So, the lesson that I learned there was equity's great, but I like cash flow. Like I'm not gonna work a corporate America job anymore, so I need cash flow. And although Baltimore has its challenges, and there are a lot of challenges, Baltimore is a good cash flow market. And I started investing in Baltimore, and I did the research. And you give me an address in Baltimore, I kind of know the neighborhood. I know where rents are at. Baltimore is a market where a house sold for $150,000 in 2000. It sold for $150,000 in 2010. It sold for $150,000 in 2020. But the rents in 2000 were $400. The rents in 2010 were $600. The rents in 2020 are $1,200. Like the rents are going up, but the appreciation isn't. So I'm buying these properties with the understanding that I'm not going to be able to sell and make a lot of money in 10 years. But every month I'm going to make cash flow, and that's really what I focus in on.
I'm assuming a lot of these you mentioned were C&D class.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is the secret to C&D class real estate investing? That's tough.
It's tough. But one thing I could say, those are my people. You get it?
Yeah.
Like those are my people. I speak their language. I look like them. Like I look really, really young. And outside of that, I speak their language. I come from where they come from. So I understand. Like, I understand what the story is behind the credit report. I understand what the story is behind the low income. I understand what the story is behind the background check. And I personally have a lot of tenants that don't have clean backgrounds. But I tell them straight up, hey, listen, I'm not going to play with you. You got a 530 credit score. You make $18 an hour, you're a family of 3, family of 4, and you have a criminal record. I will rent to you because I see that you make enough money to cover the rent. But if you play with me, I will evict you. And once I evict you, that's going to go on your record. And then I'm going to go do a collections case against you, and that's going to go on your record. You have bad credit, you make a low income, you have a criminal record, and now you have an eviction, no one's going to rent to you. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. And when you speak to them in that language, and they see it in your eyes that you're serious, and I tell them straight up, hey, listen, if you're good to me, I'll be good to you. I'm notorious for not really raising rents. And because although my expenses sometimes increase, but I'm getting DSCR loan, 30-year fixed loans, my mortgage payment is going to go up because my taxes and insurance go up, but it's not going to go up. It's not going to double. I'm not getting these adjustable rate mortgages that, like I always say, a lot of real estate investors, they mess up and they blow up because they make a lot of promises to their investors at 3% that they can't keep at 7%. You cannot keep it at 7%. And because of that, now you have a problem. But one thing with me, I don't have investors. I 100% self-fund. Yes, I use banks. I don't do hard money. I use DSCR loans. I have excellent credit. I always have my 20, 25, 30% down, and I always use my own money. I've never borrowed a dime from anyone to invest in my properties. I use the snowball effect, whereas if I see a property I want to buy, I make enough cash flow on my current portfolio that in a month or 2 months or 3 months, I'll have enough cash flow to be able to put the down payment down. And that's really how I fund my business.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Can you explain DSCR loan for those who don't know?
Yeah, sure. Debt service coverage ratio, that's essentially what it is. The bank will take a look at the property. They look at PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, and say this payment is $1,000 a month to cover your mortgage payment. For a bank to give you a loan, that property needs to make $1,250, 1.25, or 1.20. Any bank that does less than 1.20, that's really like shaky territory. Personally, the deals that I do, I'm at 2.5, 3 DSCR.
2.5.
I don't play around. I don't play around. If I buy a 3-family, one of the rents is gonna cover the mortgage.
Yeah.
If I buy a 2-family, like 75% of one rent is gonna cover the mortgage, and that's what I look for.
Well, I want to dig in real quick into how you do that. And I know
that's what I was literally gonna say how, because I look every day and I can't find anything that's that's
Yeah,
one.
it's super hard.
Yeah.
But before you get there, we never actually aired the ad this week. So this week's show is sponsored by...
All right, so I looked down at my phone and I see this text. You need to call me. Your house is on fire. And I sat there and I'm looking at the screen and I'm wondering, is this some kind of a joke? The guy who sent it was a tenant I had been trying to evict for months and he hadn't paid him forever. He had trashed the house. I mean, it was disgusting. And the guy himself was, pretty darn unstable. Now, of course, I call him after that text and it goes to voicemail. Great. Now, a few minutes later, I get a call from the fire department. Yep. My first ever rental house was burning down. So how did I get myself in that situation? Well, I didn't screen that tenant. I put in someone I thought would be good, and he was until he wasn't. Now, this was over a decade ago, and since then, I've learned how to properly vet a tenant, and that's through Turbo Tenant, which makes screening for both background and credit really, really easy. But it gets even better. Turbo Tenant also helps you market your rentals to dozens of the largest sites, including apartments.com and Redfin. You can create custom leases that cover all your rental laws, and you can even use Turbo Tenant for your automatic rent payments. All of this for less than the cost of your Netflix subscription. Yeah, I know, crazy. Save time, save money, and save your sanity by using Turbo Tenant. And because you're so darn cute, you can use the code Brandon10 to save 10%. So check it out at turbotenant.com/betterlife. Hey, so many of you have heard me tell that story about how I bought my daughter Rosie a fourplex, like a rental property, the week she was born, and how we put it on an 18-year, mortgage payoff plan so it'll be paid off when she graduates from high school. So essentially, my tenants are paying for Rosie's entire college. Now that's pretty awesome, right? Not to mention, it's also making almost like $1,000 a month in cash flow. That's double awesome. But I don't think I've ever shared really exactly how I found that deal. So here it goes. I found it through direct mail marketing. And here's how. I simply built a high quality lead list of a lot of names and addresses of potential sellers, and I sent out a whole bunch of mail to every person on that list. And then I talked on the phone to a ton of people, and then I finally got one person that was interested enough to sell me the property, and I got a deal at a great price. So building that giant lead engine like that, it works, but it takes a ton of time, knowledge, and effort, which can really slow down an investor's growth, which is why I reached out to my friend Ryan with Ballpoint Marketing. I asked him to sponsor this show because they're the best at doing everything that I just talked about. They're literally going to help you build your entire lead engine. You're gonna get a one-on-one call where they're gonna help you figure out what you want and then build your lead list for you. Their robots are going to handwrite the postcards with a real pen, which is super cool. They're gonna send them out and they'll even answer the phone calls for you. Plus, they'll help you track it all inside of a CRM that they create for you. I know, it's crazy, crazy awesome. And it's going to help you land way more deals consistently. And because you're awesome and because you listen to this show, you're going to get a discount when you tell them that I sent you, or just use code Brandon when checking out with them. I love Ballpoint Marketing and officially recommend them to all my friends and masterminds. So if you're ready to kick your deal flow up a notch, getting more quality leads without pulling your hair out, just go to ballpointmarketing.com/betterlife, or just shoot me a DM on Instagram with the word ballpoint, like one word, ballpoint, and I'll hook you up with them directly.
All right.
Yeah.
How are you finding these things, man?
Yeah, so again, I'm a known entity in New York. You give me an address in New York, I can tell you the cross streets. Mm-hmm. You give me an address in Bed-Stuy, I'm like, oh, okay, that's Gates, that's between Tompkins and Troop. Mm-hmm. I know these streets. I'm from these streets. Yeah. You give me an address in Baltimore, obviously I'm not from Baltimore. I have connections where I'm like, hey, tell me about this block. I was looking at a deal yesterday. It was in an 800 block of a street. He said, don't buy it because on a 700 block, there was a sinkhole that sunk 8 houses on that block. Oh. And I said, okay, thanks. I'm good. Yeah. Thanks. I'm good. I understand. So with that being said, what I do is, your question was DSCR, correct?
How are you finding these deals?
So I found a lot of deals on Facebook Marketplace.
Really?
A lot.
Really?
A lot of wholesalers. Mm. If I'm gonna buy something in the city, I go on Facebook. I add all the wholesalers. All of the groups have, like New York real estate, Baltimore real estate, Maryland real estate, Tennessee real estate, Maui real estate. And then you have for sale by owner. You have wholesalers. I love wholesalers. I don't understand the business of wholesaling because the way I look at it is a wholesaler is getting a great deal that I'm buying for more than what they're paying for it. They're making $10,000 in a deal, which is great, good for them. but I'm making $2,000 a month every month for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
How does that make sense? Like my wholesaler Speed keeps sending me deals, but if I ever wholesale, I'm not. I'm whole keeping.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of wholesalers. Like if I look at my email now, I probably have 20, 30 emails of deals that are in my inbox, and I look at them and I can disqualify a deal within 3 seconds if it's not in the right neighborhood, if it's not the right unit mix. I don't typically buy single family homes because, again, it just won't cover what I'm looking for. I'm not going to make 30% cash on a single family. I'm not going to be able to do a 3 DSCR on a single family, so I just don't do it. I did buy a single family last year, but it was as a favor, and I'm doing well with that. But, I typically do small multifamilies, 2 units, 3 units, 4 units, 5 units, 6 units. Ideally, I'd love to go up 8 and 10 units. If I find a deal, if it works, if it cash flows, if I can get a 2.5, 3 DSCR, I'll do it. If I can make my money back in 2.5, 3 years, I'll do it. But like if it doesn't fit the criteria, I just won't do it. It doesn't mean that it's not a good deal, but it's not a deal for me.
Yeah. How much time do you spend working on trying to find deals? Are you 40 hours a week at this thing, or is it pretty passive?
No. I am online.
Okay.
On like reading my emails, like they come in, I screen them out. I'm looking at like the last 2 deals I got. One of them I got on a Sunday night at like 9 p.m. The wholesaler put it up thinking that it'll be the first on people's feeds on Monday. No, I got to him Sunday night.
Yeah.
So I call them, and once I get a wholesaler on the phone, and I explain to him what my situation is, it's my deal.
Yeah.
For the simple fact that, hey, this is who I am. My name is Scadi. I'm a New York-based investor. I buy in this area. I've closed this and this deal in the last 6 months. These are my references. Who's your title company? Oh, I know them. Ask for a reference from mine. I see that we have these friends in common on Facebook. You could ask for a reference. I can have somebody at the property. I won't be there. I can have my property manager at the property on Monday. What time works for you?
Yeah.
My property manager goes there. He looks at it. Scotty, do it. Hey, let's get this in contract. Let's get this in contract. You're looking for this. This is what it's worth. This is how much work it needs. I can close in 30 days. And then it's like, wow, okay, if you can close. Yeah, I have lenders that I work with. They know who I am. They're not gonna do as much due diligence on me because I've done 6 loans with them in the last year, and I always pay my debts.
Yeah.
I got excellent credit. I have cash flow. Here are some bank statements that show you that I have the deposit. Let's get this done.
That's brilliant.
Let's get it done.
What in the real estate world, it can be difficult to know who's a legit player and who's just faking it.
Right.
And so on both sides, wholesalers don't know who the real buyers are necessarily because there's a lot of people saying they're cash buyers and they're not. Yeah. And then there's on the other side, like you don't know, wholesalers oftentimes just, what do they call them? Daisy train? Is that the word?
Daisy chaining, locking it up, high. And
I can pick up because I follow so many wholesalers. I know who's daisy training, and I try to find the original wholesaler. And quite honestly, I never lie to wholesalers. I never tell them I'm going to be a cash buyer because I'm not going to be a cash buyer. Yeah. Why would I buy cash when I can get financing?
Would you buy cash if they needed it just to refinance then and do a DSCR, a month later or something like that? Or
no, I'm not doing that.
Avoid that.
I'm not doing that because the truth of the matter is this. Yeah. I will do exactly what I say I'm going to do. If I tell you I'm going to close in 30, I will close in 30. If I tell you I'm going to close in 45, I will close in 45. I have relationships with these banks. I have relationships with my lender, and I can say, hey, this is a Scadi special. I got a deal for you. I got a home run. Where are the rates? Let's get it done.
Yeah, that's smart.
And I've done so many deals that my lenders know who I am. They know that I'm serious. They know that I have the funds. They know that I've never missed a payment. My credit score is 800 plus. Yeah, I'm a no-brainer for a lender. Now, if you need money tomorrow because you're at the end of the rope with your wholesale, you should have found me earlier. You should have found me earlier. But the truth is, I will work with you. I will get an extension. I will put a bigger escrow down. I have no problems. But I'm not going to tell you that I'll pay cash when I don't want to pay cash. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you that I'll close next week when I know it's going to be longer and hold you up. Yeah. I'm not going to go behind you to the seller because once I know the address, I can find who the seller is. Yeah. It's all public records. I'm not going to do that. I have a deal with you. I will do the deal. Let's move forward. Yeah. And once I do a deal with you, okay, this guy's serious.
Yeah. I like working with him.
I like working with him. Here's what he's looking for. And I tell everyone what I'm looking for. Small multifamilies that need minimal amount of work. You know, I'm not going to go in and do a gut renovation. That's not what I do. I live in New York. These properties are in Baltimore.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I can't do a full gut. I won't do a full gut, no matter how good the deal is. So I need to put lipstick. I want for paint, maybe some cabinets, maybe some flooring, light renovations.
Yeah.
I'll do the deal all day, every day.
Well, and the key with like you obviously are buying great deals from wholesalers.
Yeah.
But the key with that is just making their lives easy. And it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, for anybody that ever asked me, like, how do I buy houses from wholesalers? I would say a lot of times it's not about the highest offer. It's whoever's going to make my life the easiest.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing.
Yeah, like I'm not BSing you.
Yeah.
I know you have to make money. I don't care. Because you're gonna make $5,000, $10,000, I'm gonna make $2,000 for the rest of my life. I don't care that you make money.
Yeah.
But what I will do is I'll tell you the truth. I will not. I will close in this amount of time. You need 5,000 EMD. I'll give you 10. I don't care. It's gonna be my down payment anyway. I know I'm gonna close.
Yeah.
You know, I have never not closed. You know, so with that being said, what do I need to do to make you comfortable? You need a higher deposit? Cool. Do you need me to guarantee you that I'll close in 15 days? I won't do that. You know, I won't do that. If you can find someone that's gonna do it, be with them. It's fine. And once I'm honest, you know, like I get to the point, I'm not BSing, I'm not sugarcoating, I'm not, well, can you cut back? No, this is what you're looking for. This is what it's worth. This is what I'll pay. Do we have an agreement?
Yeah. Will you put any contingencies in your contract?
Here's the thing, right? I'm buying in C-class and D-class neighborhoods, you know? And I'm buying, I'm not going to say I'm buying distressed because I'm not really buying distressed properties, but I'm buying properties that are trading for the same thing they traded 10 years ago and 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I know there's going to be some issues.
Yeah.
You know, I know. As long as there is no lead in these properties, as long as there's no structural issues in the properties, as long as it's not a full gut renovation, I'm comfortable with it. Do I need to come in and fix the roof? Yeah, I'll fix the roof. Do I need to come in and replace the HVAC system? Yeah, I'll do that because I understand that you're not, the seller is not getting rich off of this deal.
Yeah.
You know, I understand that. You bought it 12 years ago for the same amount of money that you're selling me. Hopefully you did well with the rental income. Oftentimes you probably didn't.
Yeah.
And I understand that. So I'm not really putting contingencies on, you know, like I do have an inspection, but it's for more peace of mind. I know what I'm getting into rather than I want out. And if something really is crazy in there and I need to get out, the wholesaler knew that already. You know, you're not gonna get by on me. You're not gonna get a fast one over me. You know, hey, buddy, there's a crack in the foundation. Like, what gives?
What about tenant occupied? Are most of them tenant occupied?
Yeah. So again, you know,
handle that?
I think my skill is that I speak my tenant's language.
Yeah.
You know, I look like them. I speak their language. I understand where they're at. I understand where they're coming from because I've been there. So with that being said, I will take a tenant occupied and I'll tell them straight up, hey, listen, I'm brand new. My expenses are more than the last guy's expenses, but I'm not gonna kill you. You know, I'm not gonna double your rent. It's not fair. You know, you're paying $800. I have to charge you more. I'll charge you $1,000. Market is $14, but I'll charge you $1,000. Or you're paying $1,500. Market is $2,300. I'll charge you $1,800 because it's not fair to come in and say, hey, I'm gonna uproot your family because I'm trying to make all of the money in the world.
Yeah.
You know, it just doesn't work that way. You know, like when I got into the deal, I understand what the rents were, and it still was a DSCR 3.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll be okay. I'm not gonna uproot your family. You know, like I would say like the human aspect of being a landlord, I think it's great, but you know, like other people will be like, yo, Scotty, what are you doing? I don't typically raise rents. You know, if you're good to me, I'm good to you. If you come in and you're paying $1,500 a month and you've been there 3 years and you pay me relatively on time, and I'll touch on that, I don't bother you because at the end of the day, I understand you're not getting rich living in my house.
Yeah.
So I understand. You know, I don't typically raise rents. Sometimes I charge late fees. Most of the times I don't. I let tenants pay when they have it.
Yeah.
You know, like I have a tenant. You know, like and it's not great, but I have so many units that it all evens out. But I have tenants that pay on the 10th, some pay on the 15th, some pay on the 20th, some pay last month, and some pay next month. Yeah. You know, like it's not great, but I also understand that, hey, these people are not paying me because they're going to Vegas.
Yeah.
They're not paying me because they make $15 an hour and they got sick one week.
Yeah.
You know, and if they got sick one week, they can't pay me because they didn't get paid. You know, and I understand that.
So how do you balance? I mean, because this is something that I've always been preaching is basically the opposite. Is you always give a late fee, you set the rules, and then they will generally abide by them. Right. And I've had good luck with that. Though I admit that the C and D class tenants, like you said, sometimes it isn't just a choice that they're like wouldn't spend at the casino. Sometimes it is they just got sick and didn't work that week. They didn't get paid Friday. So how do you balance I need to set rules so they don't take advantage of me and walk over me and like they went 1 month behind, now they're 2 months behind, and they caught up a little bit, now they're 4 months behind.
No,
how do you balance?
Let's not get out of here. Let's not get out of here. You know, I'm not that nice, but I also, you know, like if I have you for a couple of years, I had a tenant. I've had her for like 4 years, right? And she pays late, she pays late. And one time, but what I've done was I file failure to pay sometimes. Okay. If you're new and you're late, I file. Okay. Just so that you know, I know what the process is.
I'm serious.
And then I'll tell you, hey, listen, you got the notice, court is this date. If you pay, I won't evict you. And I don't evict you if you pay. You know, like if you pay late, I'll charge you the late fee or not, but I won't evict you. Now, once I understand what your paying patterns are, and I understand who you are, and if you're quote unquote good people, then I'm like, okay, she's good people. She makes $18 an hour. She has a kid. Kid got sick. She didn't work this week. I understand. Then it's like, okay, fine. I may not do I may not file a failure to pay, but I'm also following up with you in text. I'm getting the story. I know when income tax comes. If you owe in December, I know January's coming. I'm like, well, you know, that's gonna happen.
Dude, I love tax return time. It always, all my tenants is even out.
And I understand that, you know, but the leniency I'm gonna give you in November and December, I'm not gonna give you in April. You know, because I know we got a long leeway. And the good thing is, you know, I do have A-class neighborhoods. Like all of my properties in New York are A-class neighborhoods. It's a total different dynamic. I'm dealing with a total different class of tenant. I do charge the late fees. I do raise the rents, but it's like, okay, fine. Like my expenses have gone up. The water bill has gone up. The utilities have gone up. The taxes and insurance have gone up. But I don't need to make a killing off of you because at the end of the day, the numbers still make sense for me. And it's like, okay, fine. I want you to stay. I want you to be happy. This is your home. I own it, but this is your home. I own the house, but this is your home. I need to respect that. And I need to make sure that you're happy and you're comfortable. And if you have service requests, I take care of it. There's a human aspect of being a landlord because when I was growing up, I never saw the human aspect. It was, I'm on the street again. I got to change schools.
That's cool, man.
I lost all my stuff.
And do you feel like, how have you done that without being taken advantage of? Because we have done that before. When I first started into real estate, I wanted to take care of everybody. Like, you're late, I understand. Or, oh, you need a ride to work? Okay, I'm going to. And I got taken advantage of so much to where we had to completely restructure our business where it's like, hey, if you're not paid on, you know, the first of the month, you're getting a late fee and there's no negotiating that or anything like that. Have you been taken advantage of a ton? Or
I have been taken advantage of, and I've learned some lessons along the way, but I'm a human first. And outside of being a human first, I've been on the other side. The hardest part of being a landlord is evicting a family. That is the hardest part because I've been that kid. I've been that 8-year-old kid that all of my toys are gone because we got evicted and the landlord closed the door and like forget my toys. You know, like my G.I. Joes and my E-Mans, they're gone and I've never seen them again. So I've been there. So like I'm very hesitant to put another kid through that type of trauma. And I have been taken advantage of, but I'm up.
I'm up. Yeah, exactly.
You know, I have no better way to say it. I'm up. You know, like if I keep doing what I'm doing with the snowball method that I'm using, I'm gonna pass on generational wealth to my family. You know, my family will never have to go through the things I went through. So with that being said, I'm up. You know, I'm not gonna let you take full advantage of me, and I'm gonna evict, and I do a lot of evictions, a lot of them, more than I like, and I do the collections, and I get paid on some of them. I get paid on some of them, which is cool because that's extra money to me. But you know, like I'm good people, and I'll treat you with respect. I'll treat you with the way that you treat me. People take advantage, but not as much as I would think. And in Baltimore City, it's 60 days. You don't pay on January 1st, Yeah, out by March 1st. Yeah. You know, if I file on the 15th of January.
New York's very different.
Oh,
Very.
Brandon.
That's why A-class.
First of all, in New York, I do a lot more due diligence in New York. In New York, I'm making sure you're 40 times the rent. I'm making sure that you have guarantors and they're 80 times the rent. In New York, you know, like my cheapest apartment in New York is $2,200 for a small 1-bedroom. So if you're not making, you know, like 60, 70, 80 grand, I'm not even looking at your application, and that sucks because there's people that need housing. There's a lot of housing insecurity in New York, but I cannot afford to be as lenient in New York as I am in Baltimore.
Yeah, what is the eviction time in New York?
I had an eviction in New York, 5 years.
Jeez.
5 years.
Oh my God.
5 years.
Wow.
5.
Why did it take so long?
COVID.
Oh.
COVID got me.
Oh man.
The eviction was supposed to be prior to COVID.
Yep.
Went to court prior to COVID, and it got 3 years off because of COVID.
Yeah.
Is he still there?
No, he's gone.
He's gone?
He's gone. I evicted him last summer.
Really?
Oh my God.
You got 5 years of free rent.
Yeah, 5 years. He didn't pay not one dime. Not one.
What would rent
dime.
have been? Like, what was monthly around that place?
Again, it's a small. I'm charging $2,200.
So I mean, that's 200 grand.
Yeah.
200 grand. That's wild.
Yeah. 60 months times 2,200.
Yeah.
There's 5 states that Open Door Capital will invest in, and New York's one of them.
Yeah. Like 5 years. Yeah. It took me 5 years.
Yeah.
And then he got out and he gave me a good cussing.
Yeah.
He gave me a good cussing. And I'm like, yo, bro, it beats like that sometimes, bro. Like, what do you want me to do, bro? Like, come on. But it took 5 years. I had another eviction. It took maybe a year and a half, and when they left, they put cement in the pipes. And I'm like, bro, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah.
Why? This is business. I understand that things happen, but you didn't pay your rent for 2 years. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. I understand. Like, if a tenant got sick, couldn't pay their rent 1 month, landlord comes in, kicks them out, they're going to be pissed, and they have a good case to be pissed, right? I get that. You don't pay rent for 2 years, and then you're mad you got evicted. It's
come on, it's part of the game.
Yeah.
Come on. You got over.
You knew what was coming.
You got over. You know, but again, in New York, I'm very strict on. You have to meet this criteria. I have A+ properties. I have A-class properties in A-class neighborhoods, and I get A-class tenants. Yeah. And that's it. You know, if a tenant is coming in with hair on their paperwork, then it's like, well, do you have a cosigner? Yeah. You don't have a cosigner? I can't do it. Yeah. I won't do it because at the end of the day, I know if I take a chance and I miss, I'm not going to collect for a couple years, and I'm just not going to, I'm not risking that. Because again, I have less properties in New York than I do in Maryland, but my expenses in New York are way more. You know, it's way more. And I just can't afford to miss on a tenant.
In New York, are you still looking for 30% cash on cash?
That doesn't exist. Come on, stop it.
I was going to say, there's no way that works.
In New York, the DSCR in New York is 110. Yeah. You know, if you're lucky. Yeah. Like the truth is,
but it's an appreciation equity play there.
It's again, I have a couple $1 million in equity in New York. Yeah. But equity doesn't matter. Yeah. Because if you're not tapping into it, it's just there. You know, I don't refinance. I do have a couple of HELOCs, home equity line of credits, that I use from time to time. But at the end of the day, equity does not matter if you're not using it. Yeah. I don't tap into them. I don't refinance because I have good rates. And although I may have $1 million in equity, if I can't use it, does it exist? Yeah. You know, it's one of those, if a bear poops in the woods, you know, and nobody's, you know, it doesn't matter. So, you know, New York is an appreciation play for me, and I've done well with appreciation. I haven't done that well with cash flow, but you know, I did buy in 2008, 2009, 2010, 11, 12, where properties were a little bit cheaper, and also I buy properties at auction in New York, and I've bought several co-ops at auction, and I've done really well with them, you know, but. You know, there's not one way. What is it? There's not one way to cash off. There's not one mousetrap or whatever contraption it is. You know, I do it all. I have real estate agents that reach out to me for deals. I have wholesalers. I take a look at newspapers for auctions. I'm a real estate investor. So I feel like I need to be invested in me and knowing what's out there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
One of my favorite strategies, and it's not what we did, because we flip to make money, and we don't cash flow great. We cash flow okay, but we're Class A and B properties. But a couple of my mentors, they spent the first 5 years of their investing buying Class C and D and just building up crazy cash flow to be able to be financially free. And then they took that and they snowballed that into Class A properties. And I love that strategy for a lot of people.
Yeah, I started with C and D Class D.
It's easier to get in, the lower barrier to entry. You're playing with less sophisticated investors at that point. You have less competition, but you're also dealing with BS. You're dealing with evictions. I always say, anytime you buy a property in a new city, new neighborhood, go spend a day in housing court. Go sit in the back. Bring out a notepad, because you can't have phones in there most of the time, and take notes. See what the judges are saying. See what people are getting over with. See what's happening, so that you know, okay, these are the tricks that's going to happen. This is how I'm going to not get paid. This is how the judge is going to rule against me. These are the reasons why. Learn the rules. If you're going to play this game.
We're Class A and B. We've never done an eviction before.
Really?
Yeah, we've got 60 doors.
Thank God.
Never done it. Well, knock on wood. We are going to eventually. We're newer to the game, but part of, you said this earlier, was like, I don't get why a wholesaler is making 10 grand on this. I wholesale all of the Class C and D properties that come my way, because I just don't want to go through the headache of that.
It is a headache, but again, for me, like,
you're making way more money than I am.
I fit a niche where I speak their language. Like if you and I go into a Class D neighborhood in Baltimore, Maryland, the interactions with the tenants are going to be different between me and them and you.
For sure.
And quite honestly, the reciprocity and the respect might be different coming back. But they understand that I own this property. This is your home. If you pay, I'll take care of you. You don't pay, I will evict you. It'll take me 60 days, and I will put you out. And once I put you out, I will start collections on you. Once I start collections, I may or may not get paid, but it's going to be in your record. It goes back to, you got bad credit, you have low income, you have a criminal record, now you have an evictions and a collections. Who's going to rent to you? Who's going to rent to you?
And I think they understand. I think what people often confuse about C and D class tenants is they equate poverty with bad or evil.
No.
In reality, they're good people. Vast majority of the C and D class tenants are good people.
Good people.
Yeah, and it's just like, if you can speak to them in their language. And I think that's I did well in C and D because like I drove a 30-year-old pickup truck, and I was them. Like we were all broke. Like some of my tenants made more money. I mean, a lot of my tenants made more money than I did back then.
I've been in C and D class apartments. Where the apartments are nicer than mine. I'll tell you right now. They got the big screen TVs. I don't have a PlayStation 5. They have that. They have a lot of the newest sneakers out. But you know what though? Like if you pay your rent, I don't care that you have the new Jordans. Once you don't pay your rent, then I'm like, hey, bro, these are $300. Send some of that my way.
Hey, I got kind of I don't know, maybe delicate question, but I'll ask it. Do you rent to, I'm assuming, like as a black landlord, do you rent to white tenants in New York?
Yeah, I don't care.
Have you ever felt, I don't know, racism against you because you're because it's not a typical situation you see a lot. Have you felt that?
So it's funny, right? Like I'll break it down for you, right?
Yeah.
In New York, when I rent my Class A apartments, I know what I look like, and I know how young I look. So because of that, I target specific tenants. I'll tell my agent, hey, I need 2 20-something-year-old roommates for this 2-bedroom apartment with co-signers. Because I know if I rent to someone that's a little bit older than me, they're gonna be like, who's this guy? I know that. So, like I said, hey, I want to keep the culture in the building the same. So I got a whole bunch of 20-something-year-old artists in this building that all of their parents are co-signing for them. Let's keep it that way. I'm not going to move a family of 4 with school-age kids into a building that I know that the tenants are, maybe partying is not the right word, but I know what 20-year-olds do. So I understand that. So I don't typically get issues with that. But I will tell you this. In Maryland, couple things. I look young. I don't look like a typical landlord. And I'm not from there. So I do have issues sometimes. I do have issues sometimes. I have issues with men that look like they're around my age because they want to size me up. I'm like, bro, relax. Like, relax.
He's not 27 for anybody that's watching this. Just wild.
I'm like, bro, relax. Like chill out. So I get that. Older folks, they typically be like, where's your daddy? I had a Jamaican tenant tell me one time, your daddy let you play? And I'm like, okay, cool, like whatever. Like the older tenants will look at me like, oh, he's too young. It's not really him. And I don't care as long as you pay your rent. But the truth is, what I look like and how I'm perceived. Once you have interactions with me, you realize that I'm not 25 years old. And outside of that, I'm a real professional landlord. I've been doing this since 2008. Yeah. Like I know what I'm doing. I know what the rules are. I know what my product looks like. I know what my value add is. And if you pay your rent, you won't have a problem with me. But if you play with me, I will play back. And I got time. And I got time. I do this. Yeah. And because I do this, I make sure that hey, this is your home, but I'm in charge. Yeah. I won't call you unnecessarily. I won't send an inspector to your house without speaking to you first. My property manager has keys. He will not open your doors unless you tell us to. You got to pay your rent, and if you don't pay your rent on time, if there's a story, I understand. But I'll get you out in 60 days. And as long as they understand that, hey, I'll be out in 60 days, I got to pay, they typically pay. But I do sometimes, like in New York, I don't get problems with, tenants not giving me the respect I deserve. Yeah. Because I typically stick with younger tenants in my properties, like roommate situations out of college or younger working professionals. In New York and in Baltimore, I take whoever I get. Like I found a niche that I get a lot of like single men that are out of relationships that just need their own apartment. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, and I find that, and I hate to say it like this, but I find that I have less issues with men tenants than I do with women tenants. And the reasoning for that is they're not going to call me about maintenance issues, because they'll take care of it themselves. And, I just have less problems with them in terms of not paying rent and in terms of court. I've had tenants hit on me before. I've had that happen. I had a tenant that I worked with her on a payment plan because she owed, and she said, "Oh, when are you going to come to Baltimore? I want to think you properly." Oh, no, thank
you. It's a 4-hour drive.
I'm good on that. And then I have tenants that they see me and they're like, "Oh, okay." And once I know that, I don't go into the apartments alone. Yeah. I've had tenants where I've turned the camera on my phone when I go into the apartment because, one, I don't want any type of issues. I don't want any type of any thought of an impropriety. Yep. Because I know that I look young. I know that I'm not what the typical landlord looks like.
You're a good-looking guy too.
My mother thinks I'm handsome. So with that being said, I know that this is a single woman that's 28 years old. Yeah. I'm not just going to go up in her apartment. Let me go with my property.
Dude, I never thought about that before, but you're right, because all it takes is somebody to even just claim that you did something improper. And it could have been nothing. And you're...
No, we're not going to have that. I don't call my tenants. I text. Yeah. I text. If you have an issue, and then once they start going left, and I've had a lot of tenants just blatantly hit on me. And I'm like, oh, I had a tenant send me a salacious picture once. Oh. Yeah, and she said, "Did you like that?" I didn't even answer. I did not even answer because, no, thank you. Yep. I'd rather the rent. Yeah. I would rather the rent.
Yeah, no good can come from that situation.
No good. You don't date your tenants. Yeah. You don't date your tenants because, it's hard to be intimate with a tenant on Thursday and collect rent on Friday.
Or an evict on Saturday.
Yeah, an evict on Saturday. It's really hard. You was just sleeping here last night. I don't play those reindeer games. I date outside of my tenant pool. And that's the way to go.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. We got to start wrapping this thing up. So I want to move over to the next segment of the show. It's called the 3-2-1 pivot. Okay. The idea being a pivot, your life's going one direction and it changes into a different direction, hopefully for the positive. So let's go. Let's start with 3 books that have changed the direction of your life.
I spoke about 2 of them. Yeah. Like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And Cash Flow Quadrant, I didn't understand that this was a possibility. Yep. And then I read those books and I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. But okay, let's see how this works. And obviously it works. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And and I would say the Bible. Like everything you need, every life story, everything you're going through, it's in the Bible. Yeah. Like to me, I say the Bible is a book of love. Yeah. It's the love that God and Jesus Christ has given onto us, and it's a guide. It's a guidelines and stories and histories of things that we need to. If we're going through something, we can go back and say, okay, this is happening in the Bible. This is how I'm supposed to live my life. This is what's happening, and it's just a guideline to life.
Dude, I have been reading. I've always read the Bible, but more. And every time I read it, I'm like, there are things that are in there that have now been reworded and are popular in our culture where I'm like, the Bible's been talking about this forever. And things that when I was younger, I thought was stupid too. Like this is going to sound so stupid. I'm not advocating for not drinking, but you're seeing all of this new literature coming out about how terrible alcohol is for you.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the dumbest thing when I was younger. Like, no, like,
it's just having fun.
Yeah, just like, whatever. Who cares? And it's like, there's a reason behind everything. Like, for instance, like I was listening to a podcast about this specifically, and they talked about pornography and drinking and what that does to your mind and how it affects your mind. And and so many people are like, oh, that's so archaic. That's so stupid. And it's like, no, there's actually a reason behind it. So I love that you said that, because I think it's just the most, like, outside of being like just an incredible, like, how salvation for me, like what I believe in, like, it's the best self-help book that there is.
Yeah. Any issues that you have, this is the answer to it in the Bible. Funny you should say that you was listening to the podcast on pornography and alcohol. I don't really drink. I have like 2 drinks a month. Because of you, I had 2 drinks last night. So I'm done.
Went to Mama's Fish House.
I'm done. I'm done for March. Yeah. But like you talk about pornography. I don't partake in that. But I do find like social media. I've been on Instagram maybe like 5-6 years because I didn't particularly like it, and I realized that when I got on there, I go on there and I'm looking at beautiful women all over the world. I'm like, okay, like, and then I'm like, wow, it kind of dulls your mind to what's really going on in society, and you have a picture filtered 100 times. You take 100 pictures to pick one, and then you filter the hell out of it, and now it's like, okay, cool, that's the one, and I'm over here lusting after that, and because of that, I'm not focusing on what's happening in real life.
And it changes the baseline of normalcy in your life.
Yes.
So like, this is what normal should be, is this 1 out of 100 fully edited fake picture. That's what a woman should be like. That's what my life should be like. That's what my travel should be like.
Yes. Like I do travel. I've been to over 50 countries, and obviously I post sometimes. Like I'm not a big poster. But like I do feel like, like you look at other people's page and you're like, wow, I'm not doing something right. You are doing something right. They're doing something wrong, because at the end of the day, they're giving you a filtered version of life, and that's just not reality.
It's a highlight reel, they say. Like, social media is a highlight reel.
It's a highlight reel, all the highs, none of the lows. Like you go on my page, like I live a pretty good life, and I'm happy. Every picture I have, I'm smiling. Every picture, but I do live a happy life. But I'm also not posting every day. I post like maybe like once a month, maybe. So, but like if you have someone that has 5,000 posts, and every post is they're having drinks at this place, or they're going here, or it's like, come on, whose life is like that?
Yeah, I hear you, man. All right, so the 3 books, great. Next one.
2 people in your life that you have met that have changed the direction of your life.
Oh wow, like obviously, first and foremost, like my mother. I met her when I came out. I met her like, hey, what's up? I've been trying to meet you for 9 months now.
And was she born here, or did she immigrate?
No, my mother immigrated. My mother. It's a funny story. I was conceived in Haiti, but my mother immigrated, and when she got here, she was pregnant. She didn't know, so I like technically I'm an Inca baby, but she immigrated like legally, and so on and so forth, and I was born here. But my mom had issues, and she couldn't really afford. She didn't speak the language. She was in her 20s, so what she did was when I was 1.5, she actually sent me to Haiti to live with her family in Haiti, and from 1.5 to 6, I was in Haiti.
Really,
I came up. I came up and I was like, hey, I'm mom. And I'm like, okay, and we were struggling. And that's why I said earlier, from 6 to like 16, I had a lot of housing insecurity. I lived in maybe 8 different places. We were evicted 8 different times. And then we did couch surfing, and it was a really rough time. But, my mom really, she tried. Like she had a lot of challenges, and she tried. And it was just like, okay, because she crawled, I'm running now. And I thank her for that, because maybe if I had a different upbringing, I wouldn't be here today. You know,
Yeah, beautiful.
Love that.
yeah. So that's one person. Another person, you know, like I have a lot of real estate mentors. You know, I have people that you know that you know I run things by. Like you know, you've had Jude Bernard on your podcast, and you know, Jude like is someone that like if I'm thinking about something, I'm like, hey, what are your thoughts on this? How like, and now, you know, when we first met, it was, you know, like he was mentoring me, but now, like I feel like we mentor each other, and what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on this? Hey, Scotty, what do you think about this? How do I do this? You know, like it's really we really fostered a relationship, whereas, you know, like we mentor each other and we work with each other and we make sure that we each stay on the right path in terms of what we're trying to accomplish, how we try to accomplish our goals in life.
Cool, man. Awesome. I love it. All right, what about a quote? Any quote that's changed the direction of your life? Pivot quote.
A quote that's changed my... You know, like, I'd love to say go harder.
Yeah.
You know, like that sounds good. It sounds cliche, you know, but I think maybe never forget where I came from. You know, because again, you know, it's very easy for me to be like, wow, I'm only doing A-class properties and I'm only doing people with 80 times the rent, 800 plus credit scores, and but that's not who I am innately. Quite honestly, I don't have the money for all A-class properties. That's the honest to goodness truth. But the truth of the matter is, don't forget where you came from, because at the end of the day, some of my tenants, they might be down today, but they won't be down for forever. Yeah. And I need to treat them with respect and understanding, and just make sure that, you know, I give them a good product. And if they're good by me, I need to be good by them, because, again, I come from a place where I've had a lot of trauma as a child. And I don't ever really want to inflict that on somebody unnecessarily.
One of the things that I love about just chatting with you is you can just get a vibe from people, like if they truly care about people, and you can see that in you, like that you really care about your tenants, you really care about people. Yeah. And you said the comment, like, I'm just a human first, multiple times. And I love that, man. Love it.
Well, maybe that's my quote, human first.
Human first.
You know, because I actually do say that a lot. You know, like I have a lot of people, a lot of friends that are in the business, and whenever they're doing something that I don't really like, I'm like, hey, bro, listen, you know she don't got it, but you know she's paying. Be a human first, you know, like be a human first, you know. Or I follow a lot of Facebook Messenger pages, and tenant and landlords are like, well, she left and the apartment looks fine, but you know, like I gotta repaint, and she was there 5 years, but I gotta repaint, so I'm gonna hold her the security deposit. I'm like, bro, be a human first. Yeah, you're supposed to pay it anyway, bro. Like, what are you doing? Like, come on, stop that. You know, so I'm always like telling people, be a human first, because again, it could be your turn one day.
Yeah.
You know, it could be your turn one day, and when it's your turn, you want someone to be a human first to you.
Yeah.
Dude, you're going to write the book. I'm going to call it here. Human First, a case for ethical landlording.
I love it.
Wow.
Or empathetic, maybe empathetic landlording. But that's going to be a book, man.
It is. And I love, because like I'm on a ton of landlord pages where they say the same exact thing. Like, you know, this person got sick and they had to cancel their lease. And in the lease, we charge, you know, first and last month. And so I'm going to go after them. I'm like,
for what?
Like, why? Why would you do that to somebody?
Or I just bought a new property and I can't wait to evict everyone. Okay. Like, first of all, congrats. You just bought a new property, but this is their home. And you're justified to evict if they're not paying. You're justified to evict if you need to renovate the house. But if market is a little bit higher, you can get them up. But don't come in saying, hey, I gotta evict everyone. I gotta start new.
But as I said, the world of mobile home parks are notorious for that. So like guys will buy them because those people are definitely seeing D-class tenants. They own maybe own their own home, but the land underneath it they got to rent, right? So mobile home park owners will go into a place where lot rent is $300 a month, and they'll say, all right, well now it's $700 a month, and what can they can't do anything. They can't afford to move their home, so they either have to leave the home that they actually own, but they leave it there and abandon it. Terrible. So what we did at Open Door Capital is we'll go into a place and we tried never to raise the rent more than $50 a month per year. You know, so like maybe we'll go from $300 to $350 if we're really far behind, and then next year maybe go to $400, then $450. But we made our thing and said, how do we go from 70% occupied to 100% occupied? Now we actually improve the property, improve the tenancy, but make our money a different way. And I think that's just like where there's landlording for maximum profit, and then there's landlording for great profit and being a good person, being a good human.
Like I'm never gonna make maximum profit. I already know it, because again, I like every day I have rent coming in from the 1st, and today is the 13th, and I'm gonna have it cycled throughout the whole month. And at the end of the day, when I look at my general ledger at the end of the month, I'm going to have 95% of my rent. They're not going to come in all on the first.
Yep.
And then the ones that aren't paying, I'm going to have conversations with them. And if I need to file, I will file. But I also understand that you pay me every paycheck. I understand that. You know, like I understand that you pay me every week. I understand that you might pay me $300 this week and $100 next week and $200 a week after that because you got to eat this week or whatever it is. I understand that. As long as you pay, we're good. And that's really what I say. Hey, I'm a human first. As long as you pay, we're good. If you don't pay, we got a problem. And I will do the steps. I will make sure I get paid. But as long as you pay, we're good.
Yeah. Love it. Beautiful, man. All right. Next question. Past, present, future. You want to start it?
Yeah. So what would you tell if you're looking back to, 21-year-old Scadi, which again, it blows my mind that that's not 7 years ago. I wish I had your genetics. But what would you say to him?
Oh, wow. 20-year-old Scadi, I would say, you're about to embark on a journey in life. And, you're about to go into the military. You're about to be displaced and go to Iraq. And just take it all in, and really think about what's happening here and really think about how you want to set your life up for how you want to set the rest of your life up because, you're in a challenging place. You're in Iraq and you're like, oh, I signed up for this, but I didn't know it was this quick.
Yeah.
I signed up in February and by December I was gone. So I didn't know it was this quick. But outside of that, like life's a journey. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, so that's past. Let's go present. What is currently your number one tip or number one rule for living a better life?
I hate to say it, but like this human first thing, like it really is, like I live a good life. I'm happy. I'm always smiling. I'm always having a good time. Yeah. But the reasoning why is because I know that I'm not really out here like doing things to people that I wouldn't want done to me. Yeah. So that's really important. Obviously, again, I'm a landlord and there's trials and tribulations on that, and I have court legal proceedings with non-paying tenants. But no one can say, hey, Scadi did me unfairly. Yeah. They can say things went wrong and stuff hit the fan.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. And then future. So what do you want? Like when you pass away and people are at your funeral talking about you, what do you want them to say about Scadi?
He still looks 27.
Yeah, he's still, dude, can you believe that? He's 95 years old and he still looks 27. He's still got that great smile.
You know what's funny? I always said that at my funeral, I want to have grief adjusters where I want them to come in and say, "You're not crying enough.
Exactly.
You're not crying enough. You need to cry more, or you got to go." No, but
back in Jesus' day, they had professional wailers.
Yeah, that's what I need.
Yeah, they would hire people to come over and just mourn loudly.
And then you get extra if you throw yourself in the casket.
Wow, they really love Scadi. Never met him before.
No, that's funny. But in actuality, like I do want to build generational wealth. I want to make sure that the issues that I had growing up, that no other Etienne has those issues. Yeah. And I'm working hard to ensure that. I want to make sure that my future generations are well taken care of. I want to make sure that the people I love are taken care of. I want to make sure, that people will say, hey, Scadi was a good person. Yeah. Like that matters. Like you want to be looked at as a good person. That's just pretty much it. Yeah.
That's
good
awesome.
Answer, man.
Do you know a business that I've always wanted to start?
What's that?
Is
professional whalers?
No, I've wanted to start like a business, and this is going to sound absolutely crazy, but I want to throw funerals for people before they're dead. Like, I think that's so important because there's so many things that you'd want to say. Like, if you died, I probably would say things at your funeral that I wouldn't tell you right now.
So instead of like a roast, it's a funeral.
It's like a funeral. Yeah, and you get to like
Brandon has the best beard.
His beard.
So good until it fell off in that chopping machine.
Exactly.
Took off his limbs.
Funny
before people pass away.
Funny you say that, right? Like Albert Nobel. Like
I love this story.
You know him from the Nobel Peace Prize. But prior to the Nobel Peace Prize, he actually read an obituary. His brother passed away, and they thought it was him. And when he read the obituary, he was like, this ain't how I want to be remembered. Yeah. So he basically started up the Nobel Peace Prize Foundation, and now you associate with Albert Nobel with the Peace Prize.
Yeah.
But prior to that, he wasn't about peace.
Yeah, they called him the Merchant of Death.
Yes.
So you just became Brandon's best friend because that's his favorite
I love that story.
Oh, really?
Dude, I love that story.
Really?
The Merchant
that's
of
pretty
Death.
cool.
Yeah.
I tell that story a fair amount because I'm always like, I was like, you can change your destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, right. He was 51 years old and he's like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, that's so cool. Like if you really think about it, it dovetails to the funeral thing because like if you could sit on your eulogy and listen to the people and pick the people out that aren't mourning enough.
Yeah.
But the point being is like if you could really sit there, what are people saying about you?
Yeah.
What are the people that you love and you care about? What are they saying about you? How do they feel that you're gone?
Well, and I was at a funeral. One of the reasons I thought about this, I was at a funeral. It was probably a year and a half ago, and the guy passed away. And every single one of his kids got up and talked, and they didn't say one thing about how loving their dad was. That their words were, he showed that he cared by providing. He showed that he cared by working.
They were like parsing their words.
Yes, and I was sad because I was like, that guy. He was successful, but like. I don't want that to be said about me at my funeral. I don't want my kids to say like he showed that he cared by working too
hard,
much.
Yeah.
And
I've seen your kids. They ain't gonna say that. I've seen your kids.
So I hope that they are. I mean, but that was actually a defining moment where it's like I want my kids to say like
my dad was great.
Yes, he played with me. He got down. He caught chickens with me. You know, it's a true thing. He showed up to my house yesterday. And we had chickens.
Yeah, dude. There's a framework there. Maybe we'll throw it in the Better Life tribe around the idea of like, because we talk about eulogies or eugooglees if you're a Zoolander fan. Like there's this idea of like. Imagine every year, that's like a practice you do. Every year you write your eulogy from the previous year. If you were to have died that day, what would people, because they only say like the last few months or years like that.
Right.
And so like, if every year you're like, what right now if I died, my kids, if they had to write it, obviously they're really young, but they would say dad works a lot. Like that's what they say now. And that should be a reflection of like, oh, okay, well I don't want that to be my, because I could die right now any minute. So I don't want the last memory my kid ever has of me. Yeah,
but I would say yesterday I was with you, and we were gonna go to dinner, and you said, "Hey, listen, I gotta go home and kiss my kids." So they understand. You know, you went home. You ate the
giant cinnamon roll.
You ate the cinnamon roll.
It was a sacrifice. Man.
Yeah, it was a sacrifice.
My 3-year-old made it. So
Your daughter ran up to you. She was so happy to see you. She was doing flips.
You know, she was doing flips for you.
But the point is, yes, you work a lot. But you work a lot to provide them with the life that they have, and they understand that. But you also take the time to say, hey, I'm going to go home. I know we have to go to dinner. All you did was you went home and you kissed your wife and you kissed your kids and you ate the cinnamon roll,
so
and you watched your daughter play with the chickens, and then you went after the dog. That matters.
Yeah.
I didn't see my dad at 2 p.m., but he came home at 5, and that 10 minutes was more impactful than if my dad was home all day watching TV.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
So one of the things, and this was life changing for me too, because back in like my 20s, I had a lot of anxiety, and I was a hypochondriac. I thought that I thought that I was dying of cancer every other day. Like I was like I'm dying. I actually went to counseling, and one of the things that helped through that was we talked about like, okay, what if? Like, what if? Like, how would you be living right now? And I started looking at my life like that. Like, how would I be living right now? And that was actually that. And then we got hit by a drunk driver about a year and a half ago, 2 years now. And same question popped up of like, I was scared after that of like that we were fine, but my kids could have died. He had us going like 60 miles an hour and straight in the back of us.
Wow.
And it was like, what if something terrible had happened. And that was one of the reasons we moved here to Maui, because it was always a dream, but it was, I'm going to wait till we're
someday.
Yeah, someday.
Someday never comes.
Exactly. Like if that, like, and we got to move here, and we've got to spend, like you saw us yesterday, like we're hanging out outside, catching chickens, like riding bikes.
I looked at both of your situations and said, wow. You know, you told me your wife is the only girlfriend you've had.
Yeah.
You know,
I had one other one, but when I was 14 years old.
14 don't count. But the point being is I saw both of your kids, they're running around barefoot, catching chickens, kidnapping chickens.
That mama chicken was angry.
That mama chicken.
I was actually upset about that. I was like, imagine if somebody came and took you. Right?
Yeah, but your kids are happy, and they're smart, and they're able to. Yeah, they're in school and they're learning, but they're also learning life skills. That's invaluable. That is invaluable.
Chicken catching.
Chicken catching. Like you brought 3 strangers to the house, and your kids were like, "Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you."
Yeah.
Your wife came up and she was really nice and friendly and approachable to us. Your son came out and I swear
covered in dirt.
He's covered in dirt, but it's good dirt.
Yeah.
It's good dirt. I've been home and I was home and I wasn't watching a screen.
Yeah.
I was in the backyard catching chickens and playing with the chickens and doing whatever.
Yeah.
But, that's invaluable.
Yeah.
And your kids are going to thank you guys for that. Like, I know you're saying that you work too hard, but I'm sure that your kids would rather be here with you working hard than back in, what he said, Northwest Washington with you working just as hard, but they have to be indoors because it's raining.
Yeah.
Just.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah.
It's good encouragement, man. All right, well, let's wrap things up here. First of all, what are you excited about? What's coming up in your life?
Oh man, I'm excited about, just the potential to, purchase more real estate. Like that's something that I actively do. I'm actively trying to grow my portfolio. Again, I said earlier, it's basically a snowball effect. Whereas, if I see a deal, I know that I can save up. I can go back to eating eating tuna fish for 2 months. And I can get another property in the portfolio, and obviously it's going to be 30% cash on cash, and in 2.5 years, I'll break even, and then everything else is profit. So I'm really excited about that because I really do think I found what my real estate niche was. I'm not going to go and buy. I'm not going to go into syndications because I don't take outside money in. I'm not gonna go into, like big multifamilies because I need more capital. But the niche that I'm working in, whereas I'm buying these small multifamilies that I'm able to add value to the tenants' lives because I'm actually taking care of the property. But I'm also 30% cash on cash, and after 2-3 years, everything is profit. I can use that money to put into the property, but I could also use those funds to acquire more properties. So I'm really excited about that because I found my niche.
Yeah, I love it. I love how specific you are in that. I love what you're not going to do.
Yeah.
I think most investors are like, there's always an indecision around what are they going to do? And should they be doing this? Should they be raising capital? Should they be syndicating?
I hate that raising capital thing. And let me tell you why I hate that raising capital thing. What grinds my gears, you have unsophisticated investors that have done 1 deal, 2 deals, and now they want to raise capital.
Yep.
I'm going to give you 10% on your money back. And I'm making you promises at 3% that I can't keep at 7%. Yeah. And next thing you know, I blow up. And now you give the whole industry a bad name.
Yeah.
Well, and people think they can be Brandon without realizing that Brandon has been doing this for 15 years before he raised a dime.
People think they could be me. I've been doing this since 2008. I've been doing this for 15 years. Yep. And although I've never raised money, I've had opportunities to raise money. Yeah. But it's like a couple of things that happen when you raise money. You have to spend that money. Yeah. Now, if I have $100,000 from Brandon, and I know that I only do deals out of 30% cash on cash, and I find a deal or 2.5, 3 DSCR, and I find a deal that's 1.5, but I have this money burning a hole in my pocket. Yeah. I'm like, Brandon wants his money. Brandon wants his interest. I got to pay Brandon, so I'm doing deals that I ordinarily would not do. And I also believe, like, if you are raising money, if you have a good deal, the money will come. Yeah. Like if I came to you, Brandon, hey Brandon, this is building in New York. It's 4 families. I'm paying $300,000 for it. I have some money. You're gonna give me the money because Scotty, like this is a no-brainer. But if I come, Brandon, hey, I got this building in New York. It's $3 million. I got $30,000, and the cash flow is 1.1. DSCR, you're gonna be like, oh, Scotty, you're a nice guy. Like, not right now. Not right now, but that's just the thing. Like, I hate when people raise money and they don't know exactly what they're raising money for, or they raise money and they're making promises that they don't keep. It gives the whole industry a bad name.
I agree. Awesome, man. All right.
Where can we find you at?
Well,
where can people learn more about you?
Yeah, so my Instagram, like it's really like lifestyle based. I don't post a lot, but I might change that up. So my Instagram is at I am Scadi, but that is I am SCADI. So, just the way you spell my name.
Yeah,
Love it, man.
Yeah.
When you write your
phenomenal.
book, you can post it on there. And
Yeah.
Human first landlord. I love it. All right, man.
That'd be cool.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
We'll talk book writing. I will.
Yeah.
It's been a ton of fun, man.
Yeah, it
Appreciate
has.
you.
It has. Thank you.
Boom.
Thank you.